Hey folks, so another video here to do. This time I'm going to do a little rant on work. So each year, I guess to backtrack, I work for customer service at a rental facility of sorts. And each year they've been kind of hitting on certain points. Like one year they were hitting on I think what was the first year? I don't remember what they were hitting on the first year. Anyway, then the second year they were hitting on, let's try to minimize the amount of credits we give. And this year they're hitting on customer satisfaction. And so, now we have to make sure that the customers are happy. So, I mean, that's all good and fine, but they judge those on surveys. And so the surveys are anonymous surveys that go out to people after they've called the contact center. And they go out to them via email, and they basically judge their experience based on the survey from 1 to 10. And there's like 8 different criteria. The first 4 criteria are about the company, and the second 4 criteria are about the employee. And so there's 8 criteria, and they can score each one 1 to 10. And so this year they've been really hitting hard on this. We got to sign into that system. We got to check our surveys. And for some reason, they can know if we're signing in or not. And so I keep on getting emails from a manager telling me I need to be signing in. I'm not signing in. And I'm like, number one, I've played this game before. I've done the survey thing. It's a bunch of crap. So I'm not going to do it here. And number two, usually when you give a customer an opportunity to do a survey, it's usually just a bunch of nonsense. They're all over the place. Customers can't be on a one-track mind. They can't be focused. So they're random. They're all over the place. It doesn't make any sense. So after about, it's now March, so I guess after about, it was a couple weeks ago, so, I guess about 9 weeks. No, 7. I guess 7 weeks into the year. I was like, finally, I'll just sign in this stupid thing, get everybody to shut up, and whatever. So I signed in. Well, no, backtrack a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. My manager came over before that, and he told me that I need to sign in and check in those things, he said, because, get this, I'm the worst performing person on his team as far as the survey scores go. And not as far as my performance, but just the survey scores itself. He said I'm the worst performing person on his team as far as the survey scores. And so he said he wants me to check into those. And he wants me he said, I think you'll really see a common thing going on in all those things. And once you read that, that'll give you an idea of what you need to correct. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll sign in and it'll say that I'm a crappy employee or something like that. So I go and I sign in, and lo and behold, there's 7 weeks worth of surveys I haven't touched. And he was right. Majority of them were 1s and 0s out of, 0 to 10, 1s and 0s. So I was like, well, that's interesting. So I just started clicking on each one and just kind of seeing what it was. Sorry, I had to get a drink. So I was like, this is real rich. So I said, I've got to make a record of this. So I pulled up Microsoft Word. I just started copying and pasting the customer's complaints in. And then I typed in a quick little note on my response on those complaints. So without any further ado, I have 5 pages here to go through. So let's take a look here. First one says, your agent Keith could have cared less that we were not notified of a rental office closing down. Your company didn't even bother to inform us of this closure. We could have been stuck at the train station in a foreign country, and he didn't even care. I will never rent from your company. So first of all, a couple key words here. Foreign country, which basically means I can't do crap about it. But anyway, so as far as that goes, I do care. I'm just going to kind of read my response, so I'm not going to really talk off the cuff that much. I might deviate a little bit from it. I'm just going to read my response because I kind of thought about it and typed it out. But anyway, I did care. They had booked the reservation at a place that closed, and it was like the only place in town. It was. I checked like a 100-mile radius. There was no other place. And it was international, so what can I do? Customer books a reservation in a butt-crack nowhere town. That location closes. No other location anywhere else. What can I do to offer better service? What? Guy's kind of SOL. Me saying there's nothing I can do. And I apologize, of course, but in I'm a man, okay? The difference between men and women is women want to empathize, men want to fix. I can't fix it. There's no fixing this problem. The guy's just SOL. He's screwed. There's no fixing this problem. Absolutely no fixing this problem. And with the international, there's just nothing else that we can do. We can't do anything for these international rentals at all. I put the city in the system, and no other matches came up. I can't fix that situation. I do care, but if I can't fix it, no matter what I say or do, I can't fix it. It's just an exercise of futility. So I'm up against the wall. I mean, of course, I apologize to the guy. I checked the case record. I apologized to the guy. I told him I could send in gift certificates. He told me to take the gift certificates and stick them where the sun don't shine. So if the customer's going to be a crappy customer, I can't be a good, I can't work with that. If he's going to be a crappy customer, I don't have any options. I offered what I could offer, and he refused it. And so now the guy's giving me a 0 because it's not my fault. This isn't my fault. I didn't do it. Okay, next complaint. Explain to them of the... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Next complaint. I explained to them of the terrible customer service I received from my current rental and have yet to be contacted. That has nothing to do with me. He requested a supervisor to call him back. He called in with a complaint. I documented the complaint, and it's done. Well, here's a little insider for those of you who don't know. When you call customer service and make a complaint, just say, I want to make a complaint. My cell phone service is crap. My TV service is crap. My rental service is crap. My hotel service is crap. My Disney World service is crap. When you call in and make a complaint, do you know what happens? You know what happens? The guy on the line, he makes a note of it, hits enter, and it goes to the black hole. Nobody sees it. Nobody cares. Nobody does anything about it. All you did was you just called in and wasted 10 minutes of your time on being on hold, 5 minutes of your time talking to this guy, and that's it. Of course, the guy's going to placate you and apologize, and he's going to send you some gift certificates or something stupid like that to try to get, whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, that complaint goes nowhere. Nobody else reads that complaint. Nobody else listens to that complaint. Nobody else acknowledges that complaint. And so the customers think that when they call in and make a complaint, I make this big document and send it up to the head office. Head office gets all these emails and they read each one individually and they're like, oh man, this is terrible. We got to call the customer up. We got to make this right. It doesn't happen. This complaint goes nowhere. It goes to the black hole. It just sits on a server until the customer calls back in a week later to ask, why didn't nobody call me back? Well, nobody called you back because we're not supposed to. You called in, made your complaint, I apologize, I sent you gift certificates for the problem, or I credited the rental, or I comped you, or I did this and that. That's basically all we can do. We can't fix the problem. All we can do is offer compensation for what happened, and that's it. So anyway, the customer thinks when they call in that all of a sudden they're supposed to get a call back because they complained. But it doesn't have anything to do with me. I did send a request for somebody to call him back, but nobody has called, so how is that my problem? It's not. My responsibility has ended. Oh, here's a good one. You should count by hour after 1 day rental, not by day. I don't decide how we bill the customers. It's not my responsibility. And here we go. The numbers. The likelihood to recommend, 0. The likelihood to rent again, 0. Overall satisfaction of customer service agent, 8. I got an 8 out of 10. Empathetic, knowledgeable, both, 10 out of 10. Wow, I'm the worst agent ever. Congratulations, I suck. Because it put down likelihood to recommend 0 and likelihood to rent 0, I get a 0 on the score. The complaint, again, I'll read it again. You should count by hour after 1 day, not by day. That's not my job. That's not my job. I prepaid for rental. However, my charge card was billed an additional $96 for I don't know what. When I left airport with car, I indicated to lady that car had awful odor. This guy must be Asian or something. She said, where are you staying? I said, at Fort Myers Beach. She said, oh, and sent me on my way. I cannot drive as odor is bad. I tried several times to contact customer service, but with no help. I am a vice president of a bank that rents cars weekly. I will likely never utilize your company again. He says he called several times to customer service with no help. And I looked at the case file and I did say, you can take it by another location and exchange it. I mean, that's about the best I can do. Policy dictates that I can't contact somebody to come pick up the car unless the car is inoperable. This vehicle is not inoperable, so I can't do anything about it. The only thing I can do is, again, send gift certificates, apologize, and tell the guy to exchange it. Because, that's really the best option is just go exchange it. And especially he's in freaking Fort Myers. There's like 35 locations in the area. So it's not like, he'd have to drive to Timbuktu. There's one on like every freaking corner. So he could definitely go and get an exchange. But that wasn't, it was a sort of a complaint on the overall, thing. And believe me, if I could set up exchanges because cars smell bad, I would be doing them all day long. But I can't. In order for me to set up an exchange, I have to go to somebody else to do that. They will deny my request if the car is not inoperable. I can't do nothing. I'm stuck. Okay. Here's a good one. The customer service spokesperson at your national customer service line was very polite, empathetic, and kind. Well, thank you. She had no idea what could be done since the chain in Walnut Creek would not answer their phone. She? Evidently, this is not me. The representative did not answer the phone. Call consistently rolled over to National Service Line. I attempted the night before our vacation started to confirm our rental. No one ever answered. The next day I called to see if they would pick us up at the train station. Okay, so what did I do? I issued an adjustment of freaking $75 off the rental. And the guy even said I was polite. How am I getting in trouble on this? Why am I being penalized for this? The case notes even read, customer stated that he had some problems with his rental. This is my notes. With his rental, and he ended up having to exchange the car for another because it had a bad tire and some other related issues. Customer just wants to make note of his displeasure with us and go about getting a credit for the inconvenience. That's all he wanted to do. So I said, well, sure, I'm so sorry about that. I'd be more than happy to make a note of your inconvenience, and I'll tell you what we can do. I can give you a $75 credit off your rental, and it actually ended up being like 2.5 days off his rental, which is really generous. If you listen to some of my other people, they don't give credits for nothing. So I said, I'll go and give you a $75 adjustment. And the guy still says likelihood of rent from us 0. Wow. Thanks, guy. When we have a confirmation number that was sent via email 4 times, we would expect that the drop-off pickup point exists. If you decide to close that location, I would expect to be notified prior, so that other arrangements could have been made. As it was, the company has left us stranded. We had taken a taxi to get to our now non-existent location. Again, the location closed. I apologize. So I could set up a reservation somewhere else. And then I told them I could come through taxis and all this other stuff. I basically bent over backwards. I called the location. I set up a reservation. I put in a case. We'll credit the taxi. I went the whole 9 yards, and still, I'm a terrible agent. Thanks, guy. Oh, here's a good one. Here's the complaint in full. The full complaint for the survey. Clean the car. That's it. How's that my fault? I don't clean the cars. I answer the freaking phones. How's that my fault? Okay. Complaint. Not rip people off for $200 when they are 10 minutes late, and have an associate blatantly lie on their records it was an hour. Fine print or not, the experience did not in any way, shape, or form give me any reason to come back the next time I need to rent a car, nor recommend you to anyone to do so. I am very much looking forward to knowing that my credit card company will dispute this and I will be in the right. Again, I don't set the rates or billing structure. How is that my fault? Number one. And number two, you can dispute it all day long, but it says on your contract otherwise. But I don't set the rates. So how am I getting dogged out for this? Oh, here's a good one. I purchased gas just outside the airport and didn't save the receipt. Your agent unenthusiastically took the keys and did not check the fuel. I did not save gas receipt. I guess on this issue, my stupidity should cost me. I didn't take the keys from the guy, so how is this my fault? That's number one. Number two, I issued a credit for the gas charge, so I removed it. So why is the guy even complaining? I took care of the problem. Which majority of these, I took care of the problem. It's not like I just said, oh, you got a gas charge. Sucks to be you. Click. I didn't do that. I actually took care of the problem. I removed the gas charge. Removed. Just gone. Gone. Removed. Oh well, I'm a terrible employee. Here's one. Customer's complaint. When will my case be resolved? It's been dragging on since December of last year. The case number is blah, blah, blah. Case number is in Europe, and I never received any reply. That is the only email I received since December. He gave a email case number. And it says this. Dear customer, this is an automated response to let you know that we have successfully received your email and assigned the ticket number. Your email was forwarded to the relevant department for action. So I checked the case. So I personally checked the case, and it is as follows. Sorry, my nose itches. It is as follows. I stated, customer reserved and rented out the French Alps, so international. When she got there, it was a snowstorm day, but they said that there's no winter tires were available. She could get snow chains, but she said that would not work because she needed to be on the highway, and she could not do that with snow tires. She said she was unable to use the car for 3 days due to inclement weather and wants a refund for the 3 days of use. After 3 days, she was able to exchange car for something that would handle the conditions better. So when she got back, she is now being charged an extra €620.62 and wants to know why. I can't see anything, so I have no idea why. It just shows a higher cost. So I just got a reply today when she called in, the day that I noted the case. No, I'm sorry. This is after the fact. So she called in, and 2 weeks later when I'm actually checking on the notes. Okay. So 2 weeks later after she called in, I'm checking the notes. It was just that day we got a reply that the charge was for an upgrade, and that's what it is for. So she upgraded her vehicle to something larger and more luxurious, and that's what she's being charged for. I guess it can be construed that that's my fault. But I can't reply to the customer what I don't know. And I didn't get this until today. So, she called in. I didn't know what to tell her. I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you because I can't see the charges. I don't know. And they said they sent her the morning they sent her the information that morning when I was checking it. So I could see that one sort of being my fault, but whatever. When it come down to it, she was complaining that she was being charged extra and the representative couldn't help her, which is true. She was being charged extra. I couldn't help her. But it wasn't that I couldn't help her because I didn't want to. It was I couldn't help her because the information just wasn't there and there's no way I could get it. I sent a message waiting for a reply. We got the reply the day that I checked the case files, and we sent her an email letting her know what the charges were for. So in a sense, we did take care of the problem, just not the way she wanted it to. Oh well. Here's a long drawn out one. I was told when I checked the car in at London International that I would only be charged for 1 day. At the time, I asked the person checking me in at the handheld device if I needed to go to the counter and discuss with the people there. And he said no, that the corrected charge would be reflected on my invoice online. When I got home and checked online, of course it wasn't. I noticed another situation in North Ireland earlier on the same week, and also brought this to the attention of yourself. I was on Aer Lingus from London to Belfast on Tuesday, January 27th, and my flight was supposed to land at Belfast at 11:10 a.m. The flight was delayed an hour and finally landed at noon. The contract showed me pick up the car at 8:28 a.m. How do you explain this one? My complaint on this rental was a charge for insurance. I asked for the minimum amount of insurance, which was told was £15 per day. I was mistakenly charged for added personal effects and liability for a total of £26.45 per day, or $41 per day. Again, I was charged a full day for less than an hour's rental, and the insurance charges were more than the cost to rent the car. I said, this looks like a complaint on the location, not me. Again, not my fault. But to go through all this, the contract to start at 8:28 a.m. because he had a expedited service on his contract or on his reservation, which means that they would have the contract ready when he got there. So that's number one. Number two, we didn't mistakenly charge you. You accepted that crap on your contract. So if you accept it, you're charged for it, dummy. Okay, here we go. I explained to them of the terrible customer service RSB for my current rental and have yet to be contacted. Okay, so, A, I got a 5 on this, so I don't understand why I'm being penalized because he won't rent from us again. How is that fair? B, the notes read, customer's calling in and wants to make note of complaint for the counter agent he dealt with at the location. He said she was rude, short, and just didn't seem to care at all about his customer service experience. Or about customer service, I'm sorry. He said his flight was delayed twice, and he called the location at the counter both times to tell them. He said when he finally landed at midnight, he went to the counter, and she got him in the car, and it turned out to be $1,100. He said that's not right because his reservation was lower, and she said, you should have got here sooner. There's nothing I can do. We gave your car away, so you have to pay more for an upgrade. He argued with her, and she finally relented and charged him the right rate. But he wanted to complain and say he should not have had to even argue with her. So basically he wanted to lodge a complaint and thought that someone would read it all and call him back. They all think that for some reason. So why am I being penalized? Because the complaints go to the black hole. He said he wanted to call and complain, so I noted that. You called, you complained, I noted it at the end. Now he's coming back and putting my job in jeopardy because someone didn't call him back. Do I need to do a supervisor callback for every single complaint I get from now on? Maybe I should. I should just do that. Here we go. Here's all the complaints. Just call them all back. Be raining complaints up in this mug. I was told that my bill would be updated with the correct information, and I was sent a new bill with the correct information, which is removing the fuel charge. However, the original bill went through my American Express account already. Well, freaking duh. Okay, so you rent a vehicle, and at the end of the rental, we charge your card. If there's a erroneous charge on there, of course you're going to be charged a higher amount. That's why you call in customer service, and I remove that charge and credit you the account. There's no other way about it. I can't bend time and space and go back and make as if that charge never happened when it already happened. You called in after it happened. So how is that even possible? So, and to get this, okay, so his overall satisfaction with the rental agent, myself, was an 8. An 8 out of 10. And because he said his likelihood to rent from us again is 4, now I get the hammer. Thanks, customer. Thanks a lot. Okay, so this complaint, it comes in, and the comment was just the rental number. That was it. There was no comment, nothing. But the ratings was just 1s across the board. That was it. There was no thinking about it. No, well, I guess the rental experience was a little bit better. The agent, he was okay. No, it was just 1. Just 1s across the board. But here's the case files. It states, customer was supposed to rent an Escalade, and it had a flat. He got a Cadillac CTS, but the CTS was not the car that he reserved. His paperwork said otherwise than what is on his car. He said the police pulled him over and detained him because he did not have the car that he was supposed to have. He said he had to go back to a location and have them correct the matter. Customer said he never had the Escalade to begin with. He said he went out and it had a flat, so they set him up in the CTS instead. I told him I would put in for $75 in customer service certificates to be sent out for him for the inconvenience. So how the freak do I get a 1? I say I'm freaking $75 in certificates. That's the highest maximum we can request. We cannot request any more than $75. That's the maximum. That's the most. That's the ceiling. That's the top. I can't do 76. I can't do $75 and 1 cent. I can only do $75. You know what? I'm reneging on that $75. I should actually pull up the case, and I should send in a request to have those $75 expunged from the system, wiped out. And I should tell him to void them. If he can't be cool about me giving him some money, some free money, I gave him the hookup, basically, to get a good score, then what's the matter? Why try? Why am I even trying? Why should I even try? It's hopeless. Okay, here's one. Customer. Charged for a mid-sized car and was given a compact. I got a score of an 8. But since the guy voted 5 on likelihood to rent again, I'm now fired, living in a box on the street. Thanks. But let's look at the case, shall we? The notes read, customer reserved a mid-size, was given a compact. I issued adjustment of $30.43. Man, give me an award for worst customer service representative ever. Ever. I'm the worst. I can't solve any problem. Next one. Just a rental number, no complaint, no nothing. Just gives us a 6 for likelihood to recommend. It was a refund on a reservation. Guy calls in and says, I don't want the reservation anymore, so I cancel and issue a refund. I get a 10. I get a 10 out of a 10. A 10. A mother freaking 10. But because this bonehead gave us a 6 to recommend, I'm in line at the soup kitchen waiting to get my daily free meal. My wife left me because I'm a failure, and now I have a beard. Thanks, guy. Thanks. Next one. On arriving in Hawaii, we were obvious. On arriving in Hawaii, we were obviously in a vacation mood. At the rental counter, I was dumb enough to succumb to the pressure of upgrading my car rental. I ended up paying about 2.5 times the original quoted rate. I take full responsibility for being sucked into the deal, but the pressure in this situation was too much to pass up. We've got a great deal on upgrades. You'll get better gas mileage, etc. I will not be doing business with you guys ever again. You're right. It is your fault. Finally. Out of what? This is now the 4th. We got 3 pages here. This is now the 4th page. And finally, we have one of these knuckleheads who's admitting that he's at fault. You're right. It is your fault. But that doesn't matter, though, because all that matters are these arbitrary numbers in the sky. Likelihood to recommend, 3. Likelihood to rent again, 2. Overall satisfaction of customer service agent, 5. But here's a good one. You have to check the case notes. The case notes read, customer stated that he has 3 pending transactions above what his total amount is. I told him if he still has those on Monday to give us a call back, and we'll be more than happy to contact your bank and get that rectified for you. We may also need to contact a lead line to have them check the credit system to make sure that those holds are still or not on the account. What the heck does any of this have to do with an upgrade charge? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just so ridiculous. Okay, so I'm being scored on this because he succumbed to an upgrade, and he's giving us a grade on him being his arm twisted behind his back and roped into an upgrade. And yet, I'm being scored for this, and yet the case file reads a completely separate situation. He called in about pending transactions on his account, and I told him we'll get it taken care of if you're still seeing them on Monday because it takes a few days for them to fall off the system. How am I getting a score on that? Well, how is that any of my fault? He didn't even talk to me about that. These people are idiots. The notes just read, more concern regarding issues and complaints. The numbers, likelihood to rent again, 0. Representative courtesy, 2. Empathy, 0. Knowledgeability, 3. Understands needs, 2. A little melodramatic, you think? The case file reads, customer was not aware there was an extension fee to extend and was not aware that her rental could not be extended anymore. Anyway, she was charged $30 in extensions and $50 in late fees. I told her that I could remove all the late fees and one extension fee. So I gave her an adjustment of $63.60. Unwarranted. She didn't deserve that adjustment. Policy dictates she's responsible for these charges. But I went out of my way. I went around the policy. I broke company rules. Let's make that clear. I broke company rules to give this person a credit. What the freak more these people went? So I issued $63 in credit. If I had not I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I'm skipping lines. Okay, so I'm going to break this down here because I broke it down in the document. I went out and adjusted a bunch of crap I shouldn't have just to satisfy the customer. My knowledge should be at a 10 because I told her the freaking policy when I did it. I shouldn't need to show empathy because I fixed the freaking situation. And how is my courtesy at 2? I issued $63 in freaking credit. If I had not understood the need, I would not have issued a credit. I personally don't understand what the problem is. She had a problem. She called in with a problem. I listened to the problem. I fixed the problem. So who the freak cares? It shouldn't be done with. What did she feel the need to go back and complain? It's done. It's over. It's finished. We took care of it. So why are you still even harboring any thought about the situation? I took care of it, so just drop it. Ignore it. It's done. Okay, another one. No comments, but it's a refund for a reservation. I got a 9 score, so the average score, I averaged up all the scores, and my score was a 9. I averaged up all the company scores, and the company got a 2.75. I guess it's my job to weigh the rules and say, sure, you can rent from us, bad credit and all, we don't care. Because basically he failed a credit check, and so he got denied a rental. Because that's all that would raise his score for the company. At least he liked me. You know, sucks to be the company, but he liked me. So yeah, and then this basically is just kind of more of a summarization of the diatribes that we just went through. Yeah, so there's that. So yeah, I checked all those, and I made this big Word document, and I told my boss, I said, I'm never signing that system again. Because it's all hogwash, it's all a bunch of crap, and most of these complaints are completely irrelevant because I either took care of the situation or there was no situation to take care of that I was aware of. They didn't tell me the problem. So I don't understand why it's my head on the chopping block when it's the customers who are screwing everything up and doing it wrong. So, I'm glad that you guys gave me a forum to get all this crap off my chest. Because it's been eating at me for about 2 weeks now. And so whatever. I guess I'll edit this up, try to shorten it down a little bit because it kind of got long and out of hand. But yeah, thanks for listening. Alright, so yeah, as you can see from all that nonsense, basically anytime that a company asks you to do a survey, you know, when you go to McDonald's, when you go to Best Buy, when you go, you know, anywhere, you're inundated with these requests to do surveys. That's basically why. Because they want to beat up on their employees, basically. And so whenever you do a survey, if you do a survey, make sure it's mostly favorable. And if you're going to put negative comments, make sure you rate them specifically to what they are. Don't just be like, man, that burger was terrible. Zeros across the board. No. Say the employee was a 10. They were great. The burger was a 2. It was terrible. The location cleanliness was a 7. It was alright. It was decent. If you're going to do a survey, take the time to do the survey. Don't just put a bunch of numbers in and turn it in, think, I showed them, because really what you did was you showed them how crappy their employees are and they fired them all. So congratulations, you put a bunch of people in the unemployment line, you idiot. So, yeah, there's that. Basically, whenever I go to a place, I don't do surveys. I refuse to do surveys. So, yeah, it's just, I just don't do them. And that's the reason, because basically with the surveys, that's what they grade their employees on. And that could be the difference between them having a job or them not having a job, having a promotion or not having a promotion. And so what if they were just having a good day, but ordinarily they're a crappy employee? Or if they're a really great employee and they were just having a bad day? I'm not going to take the time to give them a survey because, again, it has no bearing on them. These surveys are meaningless. They're a joke. And as you saw through that whole entire list of surveys I dealt with, they were all jokes. But, yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. I don't really have much else to say, so thanks for watching and tuning in. Peace out and whatever.